so we've kind of been in and out of this conversation over the last few days about Viktor Stitch Kuzmin, and we kind of talked about him coming back to life, him actually not dying during that Cold War season cinematic stuff that was going on a few years back. And then, we started getting a lot of things now where people have been comparing, Viktor Stitch Kuzmin's situation to the Philip Graves situation, to other characters that have supposedly died in the Call of Duty universe, but then they've actually magically been brought back to life. Now, the thing that some of these characters share in common is that we never saw them die. So the old trope of no body, no real death, or something along those lines in Hollywood. And now a lot of you guys have just called that cheap. You guys have said that's bullshit. That's just a way to kind of, dig themselves out of a hole and bring these characters back when it makes absolutely no fucking sense. And for the most part, I agree with you guys. But I have a comment. Andrew Guyen 2234, who's a longtime viewer of the channel, he comments, "Yo, Brandwolf, if you rewatch the Black Ops Cold War Season 6 outro, at exactly 150, you're coming with me, there's blood on your hands, Adler. I just realized that now." So you might be saying, what are you talking about? Well, watch this.
"Just as I will not be the last, you're coming with me. There's blood on your hands."
Now, in this part of the conversation, Adler tells Viktor Stitch Kuzmin during their conversation, "You're coming with me. There's blood on your hands." It seems like he was taking him in alive. And then there's another part later on in the video where Adler says this.
"You're a fucking monster. I should kill you for what you've done, for what you did to me."
You guys literally just heard him basically say, "I should kill you. You deserve to die for what you've done." Two instances where Adler is clearly showing an intent to take Viktor Stitch Kuzmin alive. He's showing an intent to, quote unquote, arrest him, apprehend him, and take him somewhere. And at first, when Andrew commented this, and absolutely no shade to Andrew, 100%, like you guys comment some stuff, I'll check it out, and if it's worth, or you guys were right, we'll take a look at it and we'll cover it. But I just thought, no way, like, come on. I didn't really believe that he was gonna convince me otherwise, but he did. This is, I guess you could quote this under a theory. This is Andrew's theory in terms of like he now believes that Adler and maybe Call of Duty Cold War had this planned out since the very beginning. And Viktor Stitch Kuzmin was never meant to die. And Viktor Stitch Kuzmin was always going to come back. And Adler was always going to use Viktor Stitch Kuzmin to do his bidding because Viktor, infiltrated so many things, hurt so many people, brainwashed Adler, caused Adler to do harm. So Adler is a guy that doesn't forget. Adler is a guy who holds grudges. Adler is a guy who said, you know what? I'm going to make this clown pay. And how am I going to do that? By using him the same way that he used me. If he thinks he's going to get away with this by dying, absolutely not. Maybe Adler thought that death was too easy for Viktor Stitch Kuzmin. You get what I'm saying? Now, because there's an actual setup to Viktor Stitch Kuzmin actually being alive, it kind of changes the perspective of the character. It kind of changes everything because now it doesn't feel necessarily like Call of Duty just pulled it out of their ass and said, here you go, here's Viktor. I made 2 videos talking shit about Call of Duty, about Viktor Stitch Kuzmin and how they were doing this shit again. I was not angry because I'm like, honestly, I'm past the point of being angry. I'm just disappointed that I thought, oh, they're not gonna do this, but then they do it. But Andrew points this out, and if you go and rewatch that whole cinematic, which I'll probably play for you guys at the very end, there is a setup. Adler clearly went there with the intention to take Viktor Stitch Kuzmin, to arrest him, to apprehend him, whatever you want to call it. He did not get down with the intent to kill him, and those 2 parts prove it. You're coming with me, there's blood on your hands. You deserve to die. I should kill you for what you've done. I should kill you. And then Kuzmin gives this fucking speech about, oh, I've done everything. Doesn't matter if you kill me. I've done more than you'll ever know. And he's trying to like just, rile Adler up and say, and you can kill me now. Basically, Stitch thought he was in control, thought he had it all planned out. And he said, it doesn't matter, kill me. And you would assume, yeah, that Adler does it. But if Adler wanted him alive, which he clearly did, we just hear a gunshot. We don't know what ends up actually happening. Probably just shot him in the leg or in the arm or some bullshit, or just maybe fired into the air and then arrested him or apprehended him. I mean, I don't like saying arrested because, he's a CIA officer and, Adler will probably kill somebody before he arrests him, but he probably apprehended him and then just took him into whatever facility he took him, and now the story got really interesting for me. It did. Maybe for you guys, you might say, no, that's still bullshit. You could read those sentences in multiple ways. You could say, well, he might have meant that, but in the end, Stitch convinced him and Adler got pissed off and he shot him. But honestly, if you really slow down, take a step back and look at what was said, it seems very, very plausible that Adler had no intention of killing Stitch and this was the plan all along. And that might be hard to understand and hard to believe because Call of Duty almost seems like they don't really plan shit. They kind of just go off the cuff and whatever hits and what doesn't hit doesn't. And that's kind of what it's been for a while now. So to say that they maybe had this actually planned out from the very beginning, it's pretty freaking crazy. Again, this is all the credit goes to Andrew Nguyen2234 who commented this on Saturday, I believe. Dude, you're 100% right. Like, in my opinion, at least for me, I believe this. And this is actually very interesting. And I'm very curious to see what Stitch has been doing and what Adler plans to do next.
Adler, you took your time. It's over. Your sick experiment is done. 12, 19, 14. Don't waste your breath. I'm clean. I figured. It was worth a try. My work was finished before your little act of rebellion. This changes nothing. Tell me where Perseus is. You never understood. Perseus was never one man. It's an ideal. Bigger than any of us. Oh, spare me your horse shit. Where the fuck is Perseus? Right here. Cancer took him in '83. No. A great man with great vision. He was not the first Perseus, just as I will not be the last. You're coming with me. There's blood on your hands. Big words from the Scourge of Verdansk. Fuck you. I wasn't in my right mind. You saw to that. You Westerners. So squeamish. Look at where we are. This was the Eastern Front. The blood of millions of my people so deep into this soil. Men and women who paid the ultimate price for what had to be done. You're a fucking monster. I should kill you for what you've done. For what you did to me. My life no longer matters. Do what you will. Finish what you started on Rebirth Island. My broadcast was complete. I have changed the world, Adler. In ways you can't even imagine.
Talk to me. What'd you find?
Hudson came through from the afterlife. We got a list of every agent Pantheon's ever planted inside the CIA. We can finally cut out the cancer, clear our names. But there's a catch. Zev?
The code names are in an old Soviet cipher. I gave it all I've got. But it's out of my league.
We need a specialist. Lucky for us, I kept a little insurance for a rainy day.